Learning to let go of situations, narratives, and unwanted thoughts is one of the most important lessons I've learned. In the past, I would get stressed on something that ultimately was completely out of my control, and I would let it ruin my day. Whether it was the way someone felt about me, the critical voice in my head that puts me down, or the way I was treated in a given situation, I would cave in these moments. It wasn't fair that I was allowing these moments to get to me, and so I've become aware of it and then have made a conscious effort to not let them get the best of me. Don't get me wrong, I still have a lot to learn, but I've made a bit of progress, which has helped my overall well-being, my energy, and the way I present myself to the world. Today, we're going to dive into the 4 principles for letting go of what we can't control. Let's fire it up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week on these solo podcasts, we dive into topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Now, do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. Now, if you enjoy this specific episode at any moment in time, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you are listening in on, whether it is Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, it does not matter. Screenshot it, post it to your IG story, tag me at Babe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share out the podcast on your IG story. Let me know what was the biggest takeaway, what was the learning, how did this specific episode change your perspective? I would be very curious to know, so please do so today if you get a chance. If you guys and gals are looking for an accountability community, new year, new me, 2022 is here. We are in it. If yes, you need to look no further. I've got what you need, baby. On January 3rd, we launched the Stay Dialed In app. This is going to be the best app that you download on your phone this year. I guarantee it. It is free to download, which gives you access to our notification board full of daily inspo and questions and polls, as well as our daily reminder images to give you that little extra boost in your day. There is a other aspect to the app, which is a paywall of $4.99 per month, which gives you access to private videos and podcasts where you will hear and see this content nowhere else except on the app, as well as our community conversations where we discuss a wide range of topics such as career, relationship, mental and physical health resources. There is a community section category for each of these, so you can jump in, have a conversation, ask questions, and feel like it is a safe environment to ask vulnerable questions and share what you're going through. If this is of interest to you, if you're looking to step into the person that you are meant to be and really tap into that inner potential, head over to join.staydialedin.com to learn more. Once again, that's join.staydialedin.com to sign up. You can find the link of in the description of this episode, a direct link to the landing page to give you more context to what the app is all about. And I hope you guys and gals get a chance to download it. So please stay dialed in, people. Just let go. I wish I could make this shit up, but I simply can't. And you'll see as we get into this episode. I came into 2022 living by 2 words: let go. The reason is because I've seen in the past myself getting so caught up on things that just were simply out of my control. In order for me to stop letting my feelings or mood be disrupted by things that were outside of my control, I decided to really lean into these 2 words. And now, don't get me wrong. Is this easier said than done? Yes. But like anything in life, the more consistent we are at something, the better we get. I had already started practicing this mindset at the end of last year. And so that anytime something happened in my life, such as plans getting canceled last minute, being left on read from a girl's DM I slid through, or getting turned down by somebody I wanted to podcast with, I quickly reminded myself to let go, right? Bob, you took your shot. You did your best. You can't control the decisions, the interests, or opinions of other people, but you can control the way you react to them. Okay. So let's let go, right? 2022 arrives and we are immediately hit with a situation where I have to let go. Matter of fact, it's right on the brink of 2022 being here. There's this gal that, catches my attention, and we had been chatting through DM and text for a few weeks. And I had been forewarned that she had just got out of a 2-year relationship, but that wasn't going to stop me from at least shooting my shot and seeing what was the vibe like. Was she into it? Was she not? I don't know. She caught my attention. Let's see what happens. So we text, we jump on a FaceTime. The energy feels right. So I could tell, this is a good vibe, right? So I tell her I want to take her out to one of my favorite Mexican joints here in Venice. I'm not going to say what or where because I don't want any of y'all blowing this spot up because it is the heat. So she agrees, and a few days later follows up. To be transparent, this is in between agreeing and before the actual date, dinner, whatever you want to call it. Call it a date. She follows up to be transparent and that, she's down to go, but I must know that she's looking for space, as once again, she just got out of a 2-year relationship. I tell her no biggie. I want to go regardless, and so we do, right? I'm just going in with an open mind. I don't know. See what happens. So the date comes. We spend literally 3.5, 4 hours talking, diving in deep at this restaurant. I couldn't even tell you what else was happening in the place because I was completely pulled into this girl, and the chemistry just was perfect, right? Everything was going good, smooth, and I was having the time of my life. And then the night comes. She's already made it very clearly before this day that she's not looking for anything. And I can't resist the urge to kiss this girl goodnight, even though she has warned me ahead of time, bearded man, I need space. So what do? I went in for the kill. And as I did, she did kiss back, which I knew was a good sign that not only was I feeling it in that moment, but so too was she. Once again, we had chatted about this at dinner, the importance of, not once again, but one thing that we had chatted about at dinner that night was like the importance of transparency, honesty, communication, which I'm all for it, right? And so the next day comes, she texts me pretty much saying that we have to be friends and that for herself and that she needs to not let anyone's distraction come into her life right now. And I'm laughing not at that, but because I set myself up for knowing that this was going to come. Like I saw the text come in. I was like, bearded man, you knew what you're walking into. So do not be surprised. So as I'm reading this text, right, it's literally New Year's Eve. And I recognize that I'm already being put to the test of learning to let go. I'd already decided 2022 is all about letting go. And literally on the brink of it coming, I'm forced in the situation to learn to let go. So as much as I wish that I didn't get that text, right? That she hadn't just gotten out of a long relationship. It was the truth. It was the reality, right? So no amount of wishing was going to change the situation. So I said to myself, just flow with it and just let it go. And I was able to let go of what I could not control in that situation. And instead just focus on what I could control, which was acknowledging her request, accepting it, and then honestly supporting that decision for her. Now, a couple years ago, I wouldn't have been able to process the situation like that. I would have been bitter that the world, quote unquote, once again screwed me, right? It'd be the whole woe's me. But what good does that do, right? How does that help me? How is that energy going to benefit me? Well, it's not. It never will. I know this girl has listened to a few episodes of mine. So if you're hearing this one, just know that you're a diamond in the rough. And that's all I'm going to say. But I want all of you listening to think of a moment right now that's happened to you in your life recently where you got stressed, anxious, or worked up over something that was completely out of your control. Close your eyes and think about it and feel what that feels like, right? It's probably not great. Thinking about it, honestly, will probably rekindle feelings like anxiousness, being overwhelmed, feeling empty, disappointed, or insert any other feeling that you're feeling right now. I'm not here to say that you can avoid these feelings completely, but what we can do is learn and feel it, right? Learn to feel it, move on from it quickly, rather than letting it mess up with our minds for the day, the weeks, or even months to come, and not carry around these bad thoughts and energy from the past, because that's only going to weigh us down. So I want to dive into what I've come up and found along my journey of trying to grasp this whole letting go of what we can't control. I want to dive into the 4 principles that I have learned that have helped me get better at this and letting go of the things that I can't control. So number 1, accept the reality. This can and may quite possibly be the hardest part, right? As much as we wish things played out differently in a given situation, no amount of wishing is going to change the reality. This also doesn't have to be looked at from a negative or pessimistic viewpoint either. Since we're on the theme of dating today, let's keep going with it, right? Anytime I've taken a shot, slid through the DM of someone I'm interested in, or even, and I'm getting the left on scene, which is tough. It's a tough word to see on IG when you're attracted to someone, right? But it's okay because it happens, right? I can live with knowing that I at least went for something. And clearly, maybe they weren't vibing the same way I felt back, right? It's no biggie. It's part of life. I'm not going to allow myself to go, but why me? What's it about me that they don't like? Now, let me say this. That definitely was me a couple years ago. I would play that internal card of what's it about me? Looking myself in the mirror and judging me. But it's not me. It's not even them. It's just there's just not an interest, which is fine. We're not all supposed to be attracted to other people, or we're not supposed to be attracted to every single person. Now, that's not the right approach, right? Because it won't get us anywhere when we're playing this why me, blah, 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 blah. If anything, it's only going to dig us deeper into the hole. When we accept the reality of the situation, we're letting go of whatever narratives we wish the reality was. I'm not trying to make this sound easy, and I don't expect any of you to just flip a switch and you're Gucci, but you can learn to accept the reality of the situation faster in time, which will make a difference. You'll stop wasting time and energy wishing things had played out differently, which then allows you to move on faster. So the first principle of learning to let go, accept the reality of the situation for what it is. Don't waste any time or energy wishing things were different. Face the truth head on. That is a tough and hard reality, but face the truth and don't waste any time or energy wishing things were different. Quick break from today's episode, and then we'll get right back to it. Today's episode is brought to you by Tenzo Tea, the greatest matcha company in the world. If you're watching visually, I got the can right here. This stuff has been a game changer since the top of 2021. This has been something that I drink twice a day, once in the morning, once mid-afternoon. And honestly, it is a game changer from coffee. I still, not going to lie, I'm mixing my coffees from time to time, but I'd say I'm about 80% a matcha drinker and 20% coffee. That is a huge shift. In 2020, I was 100% coffee. The biggest difference that I find in Tenzo is it is sustained energy. There isn't this immediate, shot up through of highness and then, the caffeine crash. I don't feel a crash with Tenzo, and it's been fantastic. I mix this in with almond milk. It's a nice little latte. It's a great way to start the day, and it's a great way to carry me through the middle of the day and really just helps me stay focused. 64% of American adults that drink coffee every day pay the price with dehydration, jitters, anxiety, and headaches. So when you're switching out that morning coffee for a matcha, it helps you stay level-headed, focused, and avoids the coffee crash, which I was just talking about. Tenzo matcha contains natural caffeine and L-theanine that helps you keep energized and focused like a Zen monk. Who doesn't want to be a Zen monk? I want to be a Zen monk. I think we all want to be a Zen monk. The product tastes great, and like I said, you can use it with just water. I personally like almond milk, and it really makes a difference. So I think you guys and gals need to give it a try. Head over to tenzotea.co. Use my promo code TheBeardedMan at checkout. That gets you 25% off anything that you order on their website, tenzotea.co. 25% off everything. I will have the link in the description below, but I'm telling you right now, This product has been a game changer. I continue to use it in 2022, and I'm going to continue to use it. So if you want to feel like a Zen monk, you want to have sustained energy throughout the day, you want to feel your best self, you want to make use of the day ahead of you. That's what this podcast is all about, helping us reach our inner potential. And I'm only here to help spread awareness and promote products that, one, I use, and two, that I genuinely believe can help you guys and gals reach your inner potential. So once again, head over to tenzot.co, use my promo code TheBeardedMan for 25% off. Let's get back to today's episode. Number 2, respond, don't react. Now that we've accepted the reality of the situation, we can choose how to respond to it. Notice how I didn't say react to it. The biggest difference between responding and reacting is this. When we react to a situation, it is our gut instinct and isn't always the best choice, in my opinion, because our emotions can get the best of us. Sticking to the theme of dating, someone you've been seeing, right, drops the bomb on you and they're like, I'm over it and I want to move on. Reacting might be you saying some negative things to them to make them feel bad about themselves, and it could get ugly. Responding would be you recognizing this is their decision, that you can't control their feelings, and you would exit the situation in a civil manner. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to put up a little bit of a resistance to like digging out the truth and the why and maybe trying to convince them to stay otherwise, but at some point you have to accept the reality of it and respond respectfully. The big difference in outcomes and huge differences in how we feel the situation is by ultimately how we react to it. And that's the most important part. As situations occur in our life or even unwanted thoughts pop up in our mind, it is our responsibility to not react and instead respond appropriately. The key is to weigh our different opinions, the key is to weigh our different options as to how we could respond, see what feels like the right choice, and then stick to it. Me trying to spend any ounce of energy trying to convince this girl that I went on the date with was a waste of time and energy on me. But more importantly, it would be disrespectful to the request that she had made, which was she wanted space. To me, the response was a no-brainer. Even though your boy was 110% interested, I got it. I understood, put myself in her shoes and could understand what she was asking for and why. When we do this, when we don't react to situations, but instead we respond, we are always going to be the bigger person, and our energy is going to come off as invincible. We want to get into this headspace where we are bulletproof in the sense that we are not allowing situations outside of our control to mess with our emotions. So the second principle of letting go, respond to the situation, don't react. Weigh the options, sit on them for a bit, and then pick what you feel is the best way to respond to a given situation. Number 3, look for the gold. This is going to sound cliche, but it is the honest truth. In every situation, there is something positive that can be learned from it. When things don't go the way we wish they had gone, it is our responsibility to dig deep and look for the gold in the situation. Some days you will feel like you are digging with a spoon and it takes a ton of effort to find the gem. And there's going to be others that you may feel like you're digging with a shovel and it is easy to spot pretty quickly. But no matter what, we must look for the gold in the situation. Back to my little date scenario. Did things shake out the way I'd hope? Not quite. But were there some positives that came from it? Yes. Number 1, I thoroughly enjoyed the night with this gal. It's great. Great experience. I'm all for it. Number 2, it gave me a reminder that women like her do exist. The characteristics that I want in a woman are exactly what I want. And number 3, it was a reminder to me of the importance of carving out time to throw myself out there, that it is worth to roll the dice even if you aren't sure of what will come from it. Even if the end results of a situation aren't what we're looking for, disregard the end result. There are going to be some solid positives that come from any situation, and that's the perspective we need to have. We need to not get so caught up thinking about how things ended, but instead focus on what are the couple gems, the golds that we found in this experience, this situation, and how can we take them with us? So the third principle of letting go, look for the gold in every situation. Even if things don't shake out the way you'd hope, look for what you could learn and how that may help you for the future. And number 4, trust the flow. Now, I'm going to get real spiritual on your ass, whether you like it or not. So sit back and relax. Time and time again, I have been reminded that the world works in mysterious ways and that things fall into place when they are meant to be. In terms of letting go, remind yourself to trust the flow of where the world is taking you. I know that is not what you want to hear. I know there is something on your mind you want, and it seems as if the world is doing everything in its power to stop you from getting it, but trust it. Once again, back to this date with, we'll call her Little Miss Sunshine. I recognize that the timing didn't align right at this moment in time. I've accepted it and I'm not resisting it. And I trust that if something is ever meant to be, maybe something will happen in the future, right? I'm not trying to make it sound like I needed to date this girl tomorrow and be boyfriend, girlfriend, and be married by 2023. That's not what I'm trying to say. But as your life unfolds and things don't pan out exactly the way you'd hope, remind yourself that things are happening for a reason and trust the universe. If something is meant to be, it'll happen. And what is so interesting about this as I record this episode is, and I wrote this script ahead of time, and in between writing the script, what I'm about to say happened. So it's now just giving me another reminder that you need to trust the world, where after recently coming to acceptance with, there's a little bit of a delay after, getting clear and we're friends. The day after I've accepted the reality of this happening, I then go on another date with somebody else, and it was fantastic and it went really well. And it just reminded me that letting go and trusting the flow of the universe truly, truly, truly does happen. And sometimes, and the majority of my time in my life, it doesn't happen the next day like that. But there is some magic in the air. There is some magic in this world, and you got to trust it. So the fourth principle of letting go, trust the flow of the world. Timing is incredibly important. And even if things didn't play out the way we'd hope they would, know that the universe is looking after you. Something great will come from this. To recap, life is too short to stress the things that are simply out of our control. Let go of all the narratives that you make up in your mind about every situation in life. Let go of all expectations that tend to be out of our control for the most part. Let go of the feelings that we get from actions of other people. Let go of shit that doesn't serve you any good. 4 principles of letting go. Number 1, accept the reality of the situation for what it is. Don't waste any time or energy wishing things were different. Face the truth head on. Number 2, respond to situations, don't react. Weigh the options, sit on them for a bit, and then pick what you feel is the best way to respond to a given situation. Number 3, look for the gold in every situation. Even if things don't shake out the way you'd hope, look for what you learned and how that will help you for the future. And number 4, trust the flow of the world. Timing is incredibly important, and even if things didn't play out the way you'd hope they would, know the universe is looking after you. Something great will come from this. I promise you. Challenge for the listeners. Spend 10 minutes within the next 24 hours and consider, are there any current narratives, situations, experiences, etc., that you have not let go of yet that still bubble up on your mind today or maybe right now? Take a moment to really pause and sit on it. There is no reason to be ashamed or embarrassed. We are all human, and all humans are emotional individuals, regardless if you want to admit it or not. If there is something you have not yet let go of, maybe today is the day. If nothing comes to mind, keep these 4 principles in mind for hurdles that you come across in the future. Cues from the Stay Dialed In community. This one comes from @OrlyStory. How do you get back on track when you blow it in one day? I preach on this podcast the importance of focusing on 24 hours at a time. With that being said, that goes hand in hand with leaving behind the past. Whatever happened yesterday, leave it there. Don't hold on to any emotions or feelings towards blowing it, and just let it go. We, including myself, are going to have our off days because we are all human. What matters most is that we get back to it again tomorrow. We put our best foot forward and we see what happens. Second topic question that came in was from Sydney Webb. How any situation only has power over us because we give it power. I love this. Perfect example. You want to stop an argument with someone? Be the bigger person and let them have the last word. Just stop responding and give the fire fuel. Take a step back. When you stop responding, you're not giving the fire the fuel to keep going, which means it is going to die out. Similarly with situations, thoughts, feelings, emotions within our life, if we give it power, if we allow it to pull us down, that is on us. It is not to say that we can or will completely disregard these situations, but the longer we hold on to them, the longer it takes for us to let them go, the more power we're giving to them. You're the fuel to the fire. Be conscious and aware of what fires you are giving your precious energy to. If you don't want something to rule your life, your world you're living in, don't continue to put more wood onto the fire. The longer you do that, the longer the fire is going to burn. If we let it be, if we let the fire be, it's not going to die out immediately, but in time it will. Pod review of the week. This week's pod review is coming from my girl, Allison Bell. How you doing? She left a review. Title of it was Gold. Love that. Big fan of Gold. She gave it 5 stars. She said, super inspiring regardless of your age, gender, or industry. A lot of his conversations and guests help motivate you and are things to put into perspective. Always super positive and love the diversity of guests. Love, love, love. Thank you, Allison, for the review. It is so greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to be next week's pod review, please head over to the iTunes podcast app and leave a 1-word or 1-sentence review. So important to the natural, organic growth of this show. If you're somebody that listens on Spotify, well, good news. They just came out with now you can rate podcasts on Spotify. So if you're listening to this on the Spotify app, look at your Spotify app at the very top where it shows the Bearded Man. It's the Bearded Man podcast logo. You should see to the left, bottom left-ish area, stars. And if you could leave your honest opinion review, 1 to 5 stars, hopefully 5, I would be greatly appreciated. So please do so today. If you enjoyed this specific episode today, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you're listening in on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. Screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bob-A. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share out this episode. Let me know, how did this concept of letting go change your perspective? What did you learn in this episode? Is there anything that I talked about today that kind of changed your perspective? I'd be super curious. So please share it out today on your IG story. I love all of you guys and gals for doing it on a weekly basis. I see you and I try to respond to every single one of you and know that it is appreciated and it helps the growth of the show. So please do so today. If you want to check out the Stay Dialed In app, your greatest accountability community for 2022 and beyond, you can download the app across all apps, whether it's Google or Apple. If you want to learn more, head over to join.staydieledin.com. Once again, that's join.staydieledin.com. I'll have that linked up in the description below. That's it. Episode 159, 4 principles for letting go of what we can't control. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.